The war between Ukraine and Russia has already had global consequences, drawing in nations through arms deals, military support, and now a surprising new player. Recent intelligence reveals that North Korean troops are being sent to aid Russia on the battlefield. This development signifies a potentially dangerous shift in global military alliances, particularly as the conflict stretches on with no end in sight. Much like how Iran's proxies recently launched a drone strike on Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's residence, a signal of broader Middle Eastern tensions, North Korea's direct involvement in Ukraine could escalate the conflict to new heights. With thousands of North Korean troops reported to be preparing for deployment, many are wondering, how did this alliance form and what does it mean for the war? To answer these questions, we'll explore how North Korea transitioned from an arms supplier to a military partner, the timeline of events, and the consequences this collaboration could have on the global stage. To understand North Korea's involvement, we must first look at the history of its alliance with Russia. According to an article from the New York Times, North Korea, longing for battle experience, Eyes Ukraine reports have emerged indicating that North Korea has been sending military personnel to assist Russian forces. In fact, North Korea has historically aligned with Russia during key conflicts, such as the Korean War, when Russia supported North Korea militarily. Today, North Korea's involvement goes beyond historical ties. It's an opportunity for North Korea to gain valuable military experience. In recent years, the nation has supplied Russia with artillery shells and ballistic missiles, enhancing Russia's ability to maintain pressure on Ukrainian forces. But now, North Korea is taking it a step further, sending soldiers into battle to fight alongside their Russian counterparts. This military cooperation between Russia and North Korea is seen as a strategic move by Pyongyang to boost its combat readiness. Analysts believe this newfound battle experience will enhance North Korea's capabilities, especially in its tense standoff with South Korea. According to a tweet from the Institute for the Study of War, South Korea's National Intelligence Service NIS confirmed that roughly 1,500 North Korean special forces were transferred to eastern Russia for training, marking a significant development in the alliance. The extent of North Korea's involvement has grown over the past few months, as detailed by CNN. North Korean troops, seen being equipped in Russia ahead of likely deployment to Ukraine. About 1,500 North Korean soldiers are being trained at Russian military facilities in the Far East. These troops have received uniforms and weapons, and reports suggest they are preparing for deployment to Ukraine to support Russia's combat efforts. What makes this situation particularly concerning is that North Korean troops are being equipped with Russian military gear, effectively disguising their identities. Intelligence reports show that upon arrival in Russia, North Korean soldiers were asked to fill out forms for uniforms, hats, and shoes, indicating a long-term commitment to their integration into Russia's forces. Additionally, there are discussions that North Korea may send up to 12,000 troops, a number that could drastically alter the dynamics of the conflict. Such a significant deployment would indicate that this military alliance is not just symbolic but deeply practical. In a tweet from John Spencer, a military strategist, it was highlighted that North Korean help exposes Putin's weakness, showing that Russia is increasingly reliant on unconventional partners as the conflict drags on. The decision to send North Korean soldiers into Ukraine represents a major shift in the conflict. According to an article from the independent Everything We Know About North Korean Troops Joining Russia's Invasion of Ukraine, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky recently claimed that 10,000 North Korean soldiers are being prepared to support Russian forces in Ukraine. Although some North Korean personnel have already been deployed, the scale of this involvement is becoming clearer, and reports suggest that some North Korean soldiers have already been killed in the fighting. This collaboration could have broader consequences for both nations. For North Korea, participating in combat allows them to test new tactics and strengthen their military for future confrontations. So for Russia, having additional manpower could be critical in sustaining their war efforts, especially as Russian casualties continue to mount. A tweet by U.S. Representative Mike Turner emphasized the severity of the situation. Why has the Biden-Harris administration failed to actively brief Congress about the movement of North Korean troops into Russia? The use of North Korean troops against Ukraine must be a red line for the United States and NATO. Next, let's explore what intelligence agencies are reporting about the movement of North Korean troops. According to the Washington Post, South Korea says at least 1,500 North Korean Special Forces troops are in Russia. South Korea's intelligence agency has been closely monitoring these developments. The agency reported that 1,500 North Korean Special Forces were deployed to Russia's Far East, and there are indications that these soldiers could be sent to Ukraine within weeks. This deployment has raised significant concerns, particularly because North Korean troops have historically not been involved in foreign conflicts of this scale. The presence of these soldiers in Ukraine could indicate a deeper military cooperation between the two countries, with Russia potentially providing North Korea with compensation and access to military technology in return for their assistance. As reports of North Korean troop deployments continue to emerge, European nations have begun to voice their concerns. According to Euronews France, worried by reports of North Korean troops sent to fight with Russia in Ukraine, France has expressed serious alarm over the deepening military ties between North Korea and Russia. French officials fear that the involvement of a third country in the war could further complicate the situation and lead to a broader international conflict. In addition to France's concerns, NATO has been closely monitoring the developments. While NATO has yet to confirm the exact number of North Korean troops, the increased military cooperation between Russia and North Korea has put Western nations on high alert. A tweet by Irmas Pate, a European official, highlighted the alarming nature of the situation North Korea has sent troops to aid Russia's war in Ukraine. The North Korean soldiers deployed in Russia have been given Russian military uniforms, weapons, and forged identification documents. As this alliance grows stronger, there are rising calls within the United States for immediate action. An article from the Kyiv Independent U.S. Intelligence chairman urges immediate action on North Korean troop movements in Ukraine reports that Michael R. Turner, chairman of the U.S. Select Committee on Intelligence, has urged President Biden to take decisive steps in response to North Korea's involvement. Turner described the presence of North Korean troops as a red line for the United States and NATO, warning that this development could significantly escalate the war. Turner also called for an urgent classified briefing to discuss the implications of North Korean troops moving into Ukraine. This highlights the level of concern within the U.S. government regarding how North Korea's involvement could reshape the geopolitical landscape. While North Korea's involvement may seem to be in support of Russia, it's clear that Pyongyang is pursuing its own military goals. According to the Eurasian Times, North Korean troops in Russia Moscow checkmates the US. Just like 1971 India-Pakistan War, North Korea is using this opportunity to improve its military preparedness. The deployment of troops to Ukraine allows North Korea to gain valuable combat experience while testing its newly developed weapons systems in an active conflict. Before deployment, North Korean soldiers underwent rigorous training supervised by Kim Jong-un, with the aim of seamlessly integrating with Russian forces. Analysts believe that this strategic partnership will provide North Korea with access to Russian military technology, which could be critical in its future confrontations with South Korea and the United States. In conclusion, North Korea's growing role in Russia's war against Ukraine marks a dangerous new phase in the conflict. By sending troops, North Korea is strengthening its own military capabilities while helping Russia maintain its war effort. This collaboration could lead to a prolonged and more devastating war, with global consequences. As this alliance deepens, the question remains, how will the West respond? With 12,000 North Korean troops potentially heading to Ukraine, the conflict could expand in ways the world hasn't seen since the Cold War. This is not just about Ukraine or Russia anymore, it's about a broader reshuffling of global alliances and military strategies. If you found this video informative, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. This conflict is far from over, and your voice matters in this global conversation.